is one of the most important thing when you first started, to work smart and not hard. You know, I remember when I started, I never knew those type of things like help yourself with a second tweet. As you see, my space, my workspace is very, very clean. I'm crazy about this. Everything has to be neat and clean. And I think the most important is the muscle memories, you know, because you've been doing this like back and forth, your muscles in your hands and your wrist are already going to be comfortable when you plan to start on a real client. If you're a beginner lash artist, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Cosmina. I'm a certified lash artist and also I'm a lash trainer. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys all about how to start, where to start, products that you need in order to start, and how to work on the mannequin. Hey guys, we'll be right back to this episode in just a couple seconds. I want you to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Limit Lashes Academy and my training classes. If you are looking to start or grow your lash business, mastering your classic, volume, wispy, or any other techniques, or becoming a lash trainer, I invite you to my newest Lash Pro Masterclass. You can sign up for free by visiting www.lashpromasterclass.com. And I can't wait to see you on the other side. Now let's go back to the episode. I believe this is one of the most important parts when you start your journey, to give yourself a lot of practice. You can practice on real clients, on real models, which is something that I always recommend, or you can practice on the side on cosmetic sponge or on the mannequin. Now, keep in mind that the lashes on the mannequin, they're not the same as a real client, as natural lash, but at least it's going to give you the idea how to position yourself, how to work with wrist, how to work with hands, and also how to work with the application itself. So even if you don't have a real client, a real model, just practice on the mannequin. So stay with me because I'm going to create a full set on a mannequin. Okay guys, so here is the whole setup. I put everything on the table so you can see exactly. I usually have this on my station, but I'm going to go through and explain you every single product, tool, disposable, everything that you need in order to create a full set of lashes. So first thing first, I'm going to sanitize my hands. And then we have the mannequin when you practice on the mannequin, or I also have a cosmetic sponge and I already put some points, some dots on the sponge so you can see exactly the layer. So that's another example that you can practice on the side. And of course the mannequin. And all the products that I have here, starting with foam cleanser to clean the eyes. Paper towel, I use those very soft, they call Viva paper towel. They're very, very like a cotton. And that's when I wipe the soap, and then I use water, just regular water, to rinse. Once I finish that, I'm just gonna fan. This is a mini fan. Fan the lashes, and then you're ready to start your application. Now, what I have here is a gel pad. I have a tray full of disposable gel pad for underneath, sensitive tape for the bottom lashes, alcohol pads to wipe my tweezers, even though they are already sterilized and in the sterilizer bag, and then wipes to wipe the adhesive. And then I have brush to brushes, micro swabs to use in case you need primer or any products. And then I have those little spoolies that I usually clean the lashes and also wipe the glue from the tray. I usually use those trays. They are very easy to work. I'm going to show you later everything that I basically do and how I do the application. And then I need a Sharpie to do my map. I need a small scissor to cut my tape if I have to. And then I have a little mirror to check the lashes underneath. Obviously my tweezers. And then here I have a full case of lashes. This is 0.15 C-curl mix. So I have all the lengths in here to create a full set. And then, like I said earlier, sensitive tape, I also have the Next Care plastic tape for the lids, to work with the lids. I also have my new product. This is the glue starter. It will help the glue to speed and also works for a better retention. And I also have my Limit Lashes glue. I'm working with a faster glue. And then I have a tray where I'm going to place all the lashes. Okay, so let's go into the application. Okay, so now let's start the whole process. I'm gonna put everything on the side just because I want to have room. I do need the foam cleanser and I do need the disposables, and then a brush to brush after and a fan to fan after. Okay, so before you start, you wanna shake the cleanser. Very good. And then we're going to use one pump on each corner. When the client have makeup or you feel that the eyes are oily or anything like that, you can go a little bit more or you can go twice. It depends how they look after you clean once. And you go very, very good on the base. The cleanser, it's made for lash extension, so it should not be, burning or sensitive or things like that. And then I'm going to throw all the disposable. Now, with the paper towel, I'm going to top first to take all the soap off. And then I'm going to hold the paper towel on the corner of the eye. And then I start with the water and let the water go, just because you want to take everything and all the soap off. Obviously, we do the same with the second eye. One pump. If the client doesn't have makeup or you don't see anything around the lash line, then you don't have to go crazy. But I usually recommend to do this even if you have a new client, even if you have just a refill. Anytime you have a client, you want to make sure you clean them before. That is the reason, and this is one of my, personal thought. That's the reason that I never use primer on clients, because primer is based on alcohol. So I just better clean them very, very good and make sure that nothing is on the lashes. Now fan and brush to separate everything. Okay, now I need the lash tray where I'm going to place all the lashes. I'm going to use those tweezers, one for isolation, one for picking. I'm going to take all the lashes from the container. 8. Obviously, we don't know what length we need, so that's why I'm going to put all of them. As you can see, some of them are new, some of them I work with them a little bit, because even if you don't finish the tray, you should put all the foil back when you finish the client. And now we're going to start the process. What I need is the gel pad. You have one pair, one for the left, one for the right. The smaller corner always goes, the smaller part always go in the inner corner. And now, the way I apply is like this. I hold both of them in the corners and then I go on the middle of the bottom lashes. I do not touch the eyeball, I do not touch the waterline, because here is when you basically going to cover the whole lash line and the roots of the bottom lashes. So I'm gonna cut a small piece just like this. And this piece, I'm gonna cut it in two. And now you basically going to lift the skin, the eye, but right now you can see that because it's a mannequin. And then you top the bottom, the roots of the bottom lashes, and then take your tweezer or finger off. Same situation in the inner corner. You go closer, top, and then take your finger off. Just remember, the mannequin is not the same as the natural lashes on the client. Okay, now next step, we're going to do the mapping. But before that, I'm going to set up the second eye too. Okay, now I need the Sharpie to create my map. So let's say for this client, I'm going to choose an open eye. the simplest, the quickest, and the easiest style that you can give to your clients. So first thing first, I'm gonna find the out where the lash is finished and then where the lashes starts. And then I'm gonna find the middle. And then those two sections, I'm going to start splitting them even. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, I need to find out what's the length on the client's natural lashes. And then from there, I'm going to do the numbers. So I'm going to pick 13 from the container. And I'm just gonna measure my client's natural lashes, just to understand how long they are. You don't have to glue them, you don't have to do anything, just, measure. Okay, so in that case, my client's natural lashes are about, let's say, 11. In that case, I will go at least 2 numbers up because the natural lashes are nice and healthy. So I'm gonna go up to 13. This is going to be my focus. And then I'm gonna go down on the numbers 12 here, 11, 10, and maybe a 9. 11, 10, few 9s. Okay, so that is my map. Now, next step, I'm going to use a micro swab and I'm going to use a little bit of the glue starter, just like this. And the glue starter you can use directly on the client's natural lashes. I'm also going to use a soft paper towel on the forehead, so I'm not gonna use my hand and I'm not gonna hold my hand on the forehead the whole time. Okay, so now they're like clean, ready to do the application, and also the glue is gonna work way better because the glue starter. Now I'm going to use a drop of glue. And I'm also going to use a little tiny glue starter on the base of the extensions. So for example, I'm gonna touch the base just because I wanna make sure that the glue is gonna activate quicker. You don't know what's the temperature or humidity in the room, so I wanna play safe. Okay, so now, isolation on your left hand, picking on your right hand, okay? Now, I'm not gonna talk about position because I have another video where I talk all about how to hold the hands and how to hold the tweezers and how to work with left and a right hand, so you can go ahead and watch that video too. So now I just gonna focus on the application itself. Now, obviously this is a mannequin. We cannot play with the skin, we cannot pull the skin on the outer corner, we cannot do anything because the skin doesn't move. It's just a mannequin. But when you have a skin, you can easily use the plastic tape and play with the lids easily. Or there is another technique that I usually teach. You can use a gel pad because we don't want to pull the lashes out. And then if the client has a lot of natural lashes, you can just pull the lashes up and work with, let's say, 1 layer or 2 layers. Once you finish that layer, let it go down and then you continue the application. So let me just show you. I'm going to pick the lash from the container, go in the glue, isolation is already ready, and then you come angle exactly as the natural lash is growing. Hold, I usually count in my head 1, 2, 3, open and let it go. Don't work next to each other. You want to give them a little time so they can dry. And move to another section. Again, I have the support on my side of the face. Now I angle the extension based off my natural lash growth. 1, 2, 3, open, go. And you keep going. But remember, you have the mapping, so you need to follow the numbers. Again, angle 1 millimeter away from the base, 2 millimeter attachment, and let it go. And you keep going. Remember to angle the hand. And also, when you work with so many layers, for example, let me go to this eye. You work with this eye and you have so many natural lashes, you can always help yourself with a second tweezer to pull all the lashes away. So you can basically find your lash. For example, here, turn your body based on your application, based on your section where you work. You work in the inner corner, you turn your body into the right. So move the lashes away, find yours, isolate, and now hold. Pick up your lash, angle, but support your hand, your pinky finger on the face, hold and open, and go. Now, when we work on the second eye, on the left eye, right? So let's say you work in the inner corner. When you work in the inner corner, you can always support your fingers in between the eyes. So it's going to give you a better grip when you do the application, and go. When you work on the outer corner, you move your chair, you turn into the left with your body, and then now when you do the application, you can support your fingers on the top of the nose, so you can easily maneuver the application, and go. When you work in the middle, let's say I'm going to find one lash. Okay, this, open and hold. You go directly on the base, 1 millimeter away from the lash, from the base, from the skin, 2 to 3 millimeter the attachment, and let it go. And I want you to make sure that your direction of the application is always straight. That means they're all going to be the same. Otherwise, you're not going to see a clean and a neat set. And then you keep going. Now, when you feel that, and make sure your hand is steady, let it go. Now, when you feel that the second or the first layer is already covered, you can let it go so you can have more lashes to apply. And now make sure you help yourself, you see, so you can speed up the application and the isolation. This is one of the most important thing when you first started, to work smart and not hard. You know, I remember when I started, I never knew those type of things like help yourself with the second tweezer, because basically when you do the isolation here, let's just say this one, when you do the isolation, you're just going to try to find the lash, right? And the right hand is just waiting for you to grab the extension. But in the same time, why don't you help yourself to speed up the work? That's why I'm saying you have to work smart. There are little things that makes your life way easier. And when the natural lash is facing up, like for example, they're more like curled up, then in that situation, you have to come with your angle up too in order for the lash to match on the base, because remember, the most important for you is the attachment on the base. That's where the amazing retention comes. And as you see, my space, my workspace is very, very clean. I'm crazy about this. Everything has to be neat and clean. Even my application, even my direction, even my station, everything. And then you keep going. I usually recommend to alternate both eyes in the same time. Do not work one eye at a time, because think about something. You have a client and for some reason they have to get up and leave. At least they have something on both eyes. And also, I think one of the most important when it comes to application on both eyes is we all know that one eye has more natural lashes than the other eye. So for example, if you start with the eye that you have more lashes, then what's going to happen? At the end of the set, they're not going to look even, because one eye has more extensions than the other. Okay, and then you keep going. I'm just gonna work on this eye because it's easier for you to see, but I'm gonna apply a few here, just to have an idea how you support your hands when you do the application. Usually the left eye, everybody said that is the hardest, but I believe it's the hardest because you don't know how to position your hands correctly. And this is how you control your isolation, guys, and that's how you control your placement, even though it's not as the same as a regular client and a real lash line, but at least it's going to give you the idea how to isolate, how to place, how to position your hands, where to support your hands and things like that. So that will help you a lot to, you know, become faster, understand the process, and I think the most important is the muscle memories, you know, because you've been doing this like back and forth, your muscles in your hands and your wrist are already going to be comfortable when you plan to start on a real client. So remember that. You see, all the direction is nice, straight. And you don't have to brush them like every 10 minutes. That was one of my biggest problems when I started. I was brushing them like crazy. Every 10 minutes, brush them. So in that case, you're losing time and the speed is gonna be slow. And of course, at the end of the application, the most important is to be fast enough so you don't have the client for 5 hours in your bed. At the beginning, guys, you know, it's a journey and it's a start. We all started from there. I know how it's not easy, but the more you do, the better you become. The more you do, the more comfortable the hands are going to be. So even if it takes you 3-4 hours at the beginning, it's absolutely normal. That's how you start, you know, that's how we started. I remember my first very set, it took me 4 hours and a half. That's okay. Now I do a set in 40 minutes, you know, an hour, because it's all about muscle memories and it's all about practice. Practice is everything. And of course, when you start at the beginning, you're gonna work with a slower glue. You need to, you know, give your time to isolate, give yourself time to position the hands and things like that. You don't have to rush the process. I don't want you to do that. I want you to do a better set, a beautiful set, and when the clients leave your space, they're going to come back. But if you rush the process and you just want to show them that you're quick and things like that, no. As soon as they go, they start losing the lashes, and guess what? They're gonna text you, they're gonna call you, and then they're gonna tell other people, oh, don't go to that girl because she's not doing a good job or things like that. So we don't want that, you know. Take your time, it's okay. The more you do, the better you become. I can promise 1000%, because I know how I was, I know how hard it was for me. But right now, guys, there are so many things there that you can improve your placement, improve your isolation. There are so many other techniques. When I started, that was 7 years ago, we didn't have the luxury that we have in those days. Right now, we have the perfect glue. We have tweezers that are easier to help. So many things that are, you know, in a better way. And on the mannequin, you don't have to go too crazy on the inner corner because it's going to be hard because we cannot pull the skin. But when you work on a real client, this corner is going to be way easier because you can play with the skin. You can place a tape here and pull the skin towards outside. So all the little lashes from the inner corner, they're going to spread nice for you and easy to see. Okay guys, so as you can see, not even 20 minutes, probably like half an hour, and I finished both of the eyes. But like I said, don't look at that, how long it's gonna take you and how fast you are. No, we are here to learn the process. You are here to understand, you know, the correct way. And remember, quality first and then quantity. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you have any specific questions, and I'll be happy to answer, and maybe I will create another video based on your questions. Okay, I want to see all your sets and your practice.